Hi, everyone. I'll start out by providing a visual description of myself and the place where I am filming. My name is Alexis Bulman. I am a woman in her late 20s with short, dark blonde hair and blue eyes. I'm wearing an orangey brown shirt with a collar and white buttons. And I am speaking from my home art studio, and just behind me is a wooden shelf full of art supplies. I'll also mention that right now I am having a TMJ disorder flare up, which means my jaw is a little stiff and locked. So if I'm having some difficulty speaking today, pronunciating words, that's why. So please stay patient with me. So I'd love to thank OBORO and Spectrum Productions for hosting and launching the Interrogating Access Residency and providing support while I got to engage in this entire process. Throughout the residency, I've been able to do research, attend all of the speaking events. I got to absorb a lot of new information and meet a lot of new people. And although it wasn't necessary, there was no pressure for me to create artwork. I decided to make 2 projects as a way of implementing the information that I was absorbing. I'm a visual tactile learner, so it made sense for me to do that. And those 2 artworks that I made during this residency are what I'm going to be speaking about in this video. But before I do, I thought I would give a little context about my disability and my art practice leading up to this residency, because both of those things really informed how I spent my time during this residency. So, a very long story made short, I have scoliosis and spinal fusion. And scoliosis, for those who don't know, is a curvature of the spine. I saw a specialist for many years, and towards the end of my time with that specialist, I was told by them that as I got older and my body aged, that I should just learn my limitations, respect my limitations, and to not overdo it. And that's very abstract advice. Because often we don't know our limitations until we've overdone it, which is always the case for me. Overdoing it for me usually means to overexert myself physically, usually by lifting something that's too heavy, doing something for too long, or doing something in an awkward position. All of these things result in pain. And that's relevant information because the kind of artwork that I love to make are durational performances and sculptures and installations that are labor intensive. And so the physicality of these kinds of art making are directly at odds with my body. And so in recent years, what I've done is I've started making my artwork about scoliosis and my experiences with disability. But doing so has also doubled as a way for me to learn more about my body and its limitations, or about breaking through limitations that I thought were my limitations, and it turns out I can surpass them. And so considering my own body in my art practice has had really positive results for me. And it made me really excited to embrace and expand my lens of accessibility, to think beyond my own body, and to accommodate for a more diverse range of bodies and experiences. So, for the Interrogating Access Residency, I set an objective for myself. And that objective was to research and experiment with tools that could stimulate accessible encounters through media art. After a few months in the residency of learning about different tools and technology, I felt really excited about audio description and 360 product photography. I thought both of these could unlock potential for increased access in the kind of artwork that I was already making. And so I decided to focus on those two things and create artworks that would use those technologies. And ultimately, my overall goal was to create artwork through a lens of accessibility, as opposed to thinking about accessibility as an afterthought when the project was already finished. So from this residency, I ended up creating two projects. One is a performance artwork called Tending To, and the other is a series of 5 sculptures made from drywall, and they are called the Remodel series. The Remodel sculptures are made from drywall, which is a heavy and awkward material. And since a goal of mine was to account for my body while I was making this artwork, it meant that I had to take this heavy material and make the pieces smaller, lighter, and more manageable. I opted for snapping sheets of drywall into smaller pieces and then arranging them by size. Or for other sculptures, I smashed the drywall apart and then intuitively and painstakingly reassembled the remains. Both my body and my sculptures benefited from this customized approach to art making. I was experiencing less pain than I have building previous art projects. And because I was spending more time looking and reflecting on my building progress than actually building, it meant I wasn't overworking the sculptures, which kept them feeling nice and fresh. In addition to considering my body while building these sculptures, I had to think about the sculptures as if they were already 360-degree product photographs. For context, 360 photographs are a series of images of an object photographed in sequence on a turntable. When the images are displayed online, the viewer can rotate and pan around the object and zoom in. With this technology in mind, I had to consider the sculpture from every possible composition and angle, and I had to account for the fact that the viewer might zoom in. So the attention to detail really had to be there, meaning the tactility of the drywall material needed to feel exaggerated and rich and lively enough to compete with the flatness of a photograph. I wanted these sculptures to feel engaging to look at, in person and online, and to be engaging to feel and to describe and to read a description of. For my video performance Tending To, I researched audio description extensively, and then I attempted to write, voice, record, and edit the entire audio description myself. But despite my research and my good intentions, I realized very quickly that as a sighted person, I did not know what should or should not be included in that script. And if I had done it all myself, it would not have been a mode of entry for a blind or low vision audience. In fact, it may have even become a barrier. So in this area of the project, I decided to let go of the creative reins, and I sought out the advice of a local Montreal company who specialize in audio description. The company I went with was really fantastic, and they'd worked with contemporary artists in the past, and they were really excited and eager to take on a collaborative approach with me. And by collaborative approach, I mean we had kind of an open discussion about what the performance was, what it meant to me, what it entailed, and then I sent them the video. They wrote the first draft of the audio description script, and then they sent that draft to me, and I got to make any edits and changes. Here is a short clip of the Tending To performance and its audio description. After it ends, I'll open the floor to any questions about these artworks or my experience with the Interrogating Access Residency. Thank you.
A woman wearing a green jumpsuit and white sneakers enters the space. She faces a bare white wall. Drops of paint stain the gray concrete floor. The wall is marked with nail holes, cracks, and dents. She examines the damages to the wall. She reaches into her pocket and pulls out a thin white strip. She sticks it to the wall. In her fingers, she holds a butterfly stitch packet. She peels off the wax backing and it flutters to the ground. She adheres the stitch to a pin-sized hole on the wall and presses it down with both thumbs.